everybody. Welcome to We Have Something to Say with Leonard Watkins and Kenneth Lively. Kenneth will be on in just a second. Um, I want y'all to bear with me just a little bit because we're trying out a new streaming platform. The one we've been using was causing us a lot of problems. Um, and also, they were getting, be quite frank with you, more expensive in order for us to stream to other services like YouTube, our YouTube page, or anything like that. They were charging us like $10 per service per month, in addition to the almost $100 something we were spending. And Riverside became highly rated, so we're gonna give it a shot to see if we can't make it work. Hopefully, it is. I'll be testing every once in a while to see if it's on um, uh, our major platforms like Facebook. You still can comment on Facebook, Instagram, um, YouTube, all those things. You can do that, and um, so uh, anyway, that's what I want to say. We're trying this new setup. I want to start off by saying something um, uh, about mentoring, um, mentoring and helping. No, let me back up. I never envisioned when somebody suggested we do the show that it was just going to be a show about politics. But I never envisioned that we were going to find ourselves in this place in my lifetime. And every time I say it, it is just weird to say, find yourself in this place in our lifetime. A place where people have gotten a foothold to push back rights that were paid for in blood, sweat, and tears, and to have us, in my opinion, it seems to have us so discombobulated that, as Roland Martin says, the bank of justice is depleted because we haven't made any deposits. We cashed a lot of checks, we haven't made any deposits, and so I say that to say I know so many other things happen in life besides this. It's just that Kenneth and I just, and I think a lot of people know this is a priority because to me, without having rights that were fought for that we taken so much for granted, nothing else really matters. Marion and I, who comes on the show quite a bit, we're having this conversation, and we were saying that he's Leonard. Leonard, I'm 14 years older than you. I still can remember when I had to walk down the sidewalks with my mother and step off the sidewalks when I saw somebody white coming down the sidewalks and making. That's how close this is. And he was saying that because I made a comment one day about saying that nobody in my generation or the generations after me are ready for the small indignations that would come from things happening the way they're pushing them back to be. And you, because you just can't wrap your head around that this could be happening, and that this could happen. And it's always amazing to me when I post something like this on Facebook, how many people don't respond to it. It just blows me away. And of my hundreds of friends, of which I think I probably have 250 Facebook friends, something like that. If they look at it, they don't respond to it. But happy birthday, they'll respond to that. And happy birthday, happy birthday. I'll get a ton of happy birthdays. And I'm sitting there thinking every time, well, I know you're looking at what I post, but you're not responding. And so for me, it seems that when you do that, you are either not engaged, you don't think there's anything you can do, you don't you don't think there's anything you could do, you don't think it's important, you're comfortable. And I'm always just floored by it because, again, I'm trying. I can go off on tangents. I'm trying to keep it within. It's not the only thing that I want to do right now. I'm trying to get some young men into a program that we're offering for free at Atlanta Area Tech, of near 26 and 27, who are trying to find their way. Um, and I want to be more focused on that. But I also understand that if I'm not active and doing my little part with my little platform, as little what it is, because social media is the tool by which you're going to fight this. None of that really matters. And we could talk about, I would rather be talking about men's health and relationships and what happens as you get older in your relationships and how men and women talk to one another and communicate one. I would much rather be having those are much more interesting. We get way more women participants when we talk about that, but that's not the most important thing. So we're still trying to find balance out of the 4 Saturdays that we do, trying to find balance with one. But um, it seems to be uh, um, what am I saying? It seems to be every week we're dealing with something. Every week. Oh shit! You would do some shit like that. You would come on here in a suit and tie and not tell me we had a dress code change. Like that's so typical you. I'm here in a skull cap. You were here in a suit and tie, just to draw all that attention to yourself. That's something that you would do. You just don't like me that much, do you, man? Huh? You mean like you couldn't have called and said, "Hey,
Don't
man,"
hate me because I'm
you
expensive.
just you couldn't have called and said, "Hey, man, don't put on a suit and tie and don't be looking
First
spicy.
of all,
Don't come in
first
here
of all,
like a bum." You couldn't do that. You don't like me that much. You couldn't give me a heads up, huh?
Lenny,
Huh?
if I came on here in a t-shirt, if I came in here in a raggedy t-shirt, I would still look good.
Yeah, yeah. I know
The
in your mind.
traffics don't change nothing, brother.
Look.
The
I
chapters don't change anything. So I really and truly, I have no idea why you so upset about me dressing up.
look,
I'm
look.
doing it for a reason. It got nothing to do with you.
Look at here. I know in your mind you believe that about a t-shirt, and I always know how your mind works, but it's normally not true. But this time it's true. This time it's absolutely true. It's 100% true, and you did it on
Don't
purpose.
hate me. Don't hate me because I'm a handsome dude. Okay,
You did.
I don't understand why
You did
why
it on purpose.
you were in
Look,
the meeting in the middle of a very meaningful conversation dialogue with yourself, and you gonna come over here as soon as I come on, you gonna start talking about me like I got
look,
something to do with this.
look. You look. You know I believe in pointing out the
I can't
obvious.
help it. I got designer jeans. I can't help it if I got designer jeans, man. That
Come,
that
come,
ain't my fault.
coming on
That
here
ain't my
looking
fault.
like coming on here looking like old Ron Isley. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You see this how he does me, folks. This he'll do shit like this every
Yeah, the
once in a
beard. Yeah, this does look good right here. I do look like the reinvented Ron Isley, don't I?
while. So
Just a
look,
little big.
so look.
Well, okay, hold on.
Okay,
Before you go,
go ahead,
before you get into
go
it,
ahead,
let me
go
tell
ahead.
you the reason why I'm just like I'm actually getting ready to go to a memorial service for
Oh
one of
man,
my cousins, Diamond Strickle. So I'm
oh man.
that's why I'm just like that, and I actually have to leave in about 20 something minutes.
Okay,
So that's the
I'm gonna let
reason why I'm dressed like this, and that's the reason why I'm on here late.
I'm gonna let you have the floor for 20 minutes. You're gonna take it anyway, so you go ahead.
No, hey, wow, I get 20 minutes to talk.
You
What
are
am I
gonna be
gonna
on here
say?
for 20.
Oh wow.
You are
All
gonna be
right,
on here for 20. That's what you
I'm
just
just
said.
trying to. Hey, I'm just usually I get about two in an hour, so I don't know what to do with this 20.
Boy,
Only time I get 20 minutes is when I'm talking when I'm on here by myself. I
you
don't
are.
know what to do with this.
You are.
Man, this is a conundrum. All right, so since I've been given permission to talk for 20 minutes, and while I'm 20 minutes, I put my socks on and my shoes and all that, so I really got to go in a little bit. But y'all, good morning, y'all. I apologize for being late. Like I said, I was getting dressed and trying to get something to eat. That's why I'm doing. And I've been up for a couple hours. I've just been messing around. So I apologize for my tardiness. Um, One thing that it's kind of funny because one of the reasons, I mean, right before I got on here, I was on Facebook and something popped up on my Facebook feed, and I thought it was quite interesting, and I posted it. I reposted it. It was a news story from PBS, and they were talking about ICE videos and DHS videos and the website for the Department of Labor and all of this. And one of the things they were talking about was how ICE has a promotion to get agents, recruiting video or recruiting I don't know if it's a video or just a picture, but it says something along the lines of something along the lines of um, save our homeland. And they were also talking about other things that ISIS put out, and it says Department of Labor. And basically, what they're using is is
Sorry, y'all. Kenneth went out for some reason. We're gonna try to get him back on. His profile went out for some reason. So as soon as he gets back on, I'll bring him back. Let him finish if he has enough time to get back on. Uh, because it stopped feeding live to his page. So as I said, if y'all just forgive me to try to get some of the kinks out. I think I knew where he was going. Um, ISIS putting $100 million into promoting agents to come on ICE. $100 million. Let's see if we can get him back again. Let's see. There you go. Try again. I don't know what happened, Kenneth. It just told me to put you out. Go ahead. Try again. You were talking about ICE.
yeah. So what they're using is the line that they're using about defend our homeland or something to that effect is actually a line in a white supremacist and it's quite interesting because they're being bold about the racism. Now, we've always known that Trump and his followers, majority of them, are racist. Hell, probably damn, even the black ones are racist. They're racist against somebody, but they're racist. We've always known that, but now they're putting it in propaganda videos. They're putting in videos. There's one video of, and it's funny because they use a picture that was used during it was James Madison's administration when he was talking about manifest destiny. And there's a picture of a angelic-looking white woman flying over the land, and the thing they're talking about, hey, we're going to expand our country. This is our destiny to do this. This is the white man's destiny to conquer the entire continental United States. That's pretty much what manifest destiny is. And in the background, you see a stealth bomber in there, in the background with that picture. So what they're actually doing is they're sending out, and the woman in the video is so funny. The woman on the program, she's somebody from some institute of American University. Is dealing with basically dealing with racism, something to that effect. But she was saying before they used to use dog whistles. Now they're just blatantly saying it out loud. When you are quoting Nazis and white supremacist groups on the country's website, they're not trying to hide their racism. They're appealing to their racism. They are focused on that racism part, and you can see it in the whole thing with ICE and the way that they're approaching people in Minnesota. And it's crazy because those people, there, I saw a video. I don't know if it was before we did went on last week. It was recent of a guy. He's like he's Somali. I don't know if he is, but he looked like it, and he had an accent, so he might have been Somali. Pretty much, you probably a Somalian living in Minnesota. He's an Uber driver. He's at the airport, sitting, waiting on somebody to call him. Ain't doing nothing wrong. Ain't bothering nobody. 4 agents come in to confront him, asking him for his ID. He's like, I gotta show you no ID. Well, we just want to prove that you're an American. He said, what? Why do I have to prove to you that I'm an American? What exactly do I have to prove? And he's standing there, well, I shouldn't say standing. He's sitting in his car. He's recording them talking to him. And they're trying to convince this man that he needs to show them his ID. He's like, no, I don't. I'm not driving. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm sitting in my car, I'm an Uber driver. I'm waiting on somebody to call me. When the Supreme Court, in their infinite stupidness, their stupidity knows no bounds at this point. I'm sorry. It knows no bounds. I don't know how the hell these people got through damn law school. I really don't know. I mean, I don't know if they paid their way through, fucked their way through, but none of them motherfuckers should have got through damn law school as stupid as they are. The shit that they doing. I just don't understand it. Because they're not following anybody's constitution. They ain't following the constitution of Venezuela, much less the United States. I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea what their thought process. But when they said, and I think Kavanaugh wrote the majority opinion, said that ICE has the right to stop to basically racially profile people. So they're stopping people on the street. They're literally stopping people on the street just because of how they look. To have people have to prove that they're an American citizen. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that. Nowhere. That is a very narrow, extremely racist interpretation of the Constitution. That you have to prove that you are a citizen. And even when you prove it, they still don't believe it. Or when you tell them, they don't believe it. The case in point of the two young men from Target that got picked up at Target in Minnesota. They're working. They ain't bothering nobody. ICE, including the head of ICE, what's his name? Greg Bovino, I think that's what his name is. Greg something.
ICE is
Went
Corman.
into ICE.
Corman.
Huh?
That's
No,
Corman.
it starts with a B.
No, the head of
His name,
ICE is I thought it was
yeah,
Corman.
his name starts with a B.
All right, go ahead.
I think it's Bovino. Greg something. Greg Bovino, I think that's what it is. He was on the scene when this took place. They went inside ICE, put these young men in handcuffs, brought them out. Young man yelling at people that are filming, "Hey, I'm an American citizen. I am an American citizen." He's telling them that he's an American citizen. And they still take him into custody. Take him somewhere else, and according to him, they beat him up, took him to a Walmart, and threw him out the car. This 17-year-old kid. Now, I'm going to call him a kid. This 17-year-old young man, kid, child, is on video crying because they beat him up. They asked him if he's all right. He said, "No, I'm not all right. They fucking beat me up." This is an American citizen. And I've said this before, and I told my students this, and I'm going to tell y'all again. It does not take long to find out whether somebody's an American citizen. They have something called NCIC, which is a database for every person in the country that has any type of identification, any type of state ID, any type of driver's license, anything like that. They have that. They have access to it. Every law enforcement agency in the country has that. It takes 30 seconds to find out whether or not somebody's a citizen. It does not take hours. It don't take 5 minutes. It takes 30 seconds. I've used that shit. So I know it takes 30 seconds. If they wanted to find out whether or not he was a citizen, they could have done that while they were standing right there in Target parking lot. They could have done it. But they chose to pick this young man up, take him somewhere, beat him, then throw him out the car like he's a piece of garbage. And I call, and I'm saying this, I want to keep saying it, I'm going to keep posting it. They need to be arrested. Because what they did, 1, kidnapping, 2, false imprisonment, 3, assault. And you can throw it in violation of oath of office. You can throw that in there too. But that's what they need to be charged with. That's what they need to be charged with. And the state needs to do that. Fuck wicked waiting around for the feds to do some damn investigation. Fuck the feds. They ain't doing shit. The local DAs and the state attorney generals, when they're doing this shit, needs to start prosecuting these people. And start with Greg Bovino. Because the motherfucker's in the video. He's in the video. Start with his ass. Because even if he didn't put his hands on that young man, he told them to do it. They're following his orders. So arrest that bitch ass motherfucker. I'm telling you, man, the way these people are doing shit, it's going to what they're trying to do. And this, y'all need to pay attention to this. What they're trying to do is incite people to start rioting and start doing a lot of things so they can impose martial law. That's what they're trying to do. That's his end goal. Because when he starts imposing martial law in Minnesota and Minneapolis, he's going to move to other major cities around the country. Then he's going to suspend the election. There won't be no elections in 2026 because of what we have a civil war. So there won't be no elections. That's his end goal. That's what that punk ass motherfucker's end goal is. And if you think I'm wrong, all you got to do is look at the fascist playbook. He's literally following the fascist playbook. How dictators take over. He's following that playbook. He's doing exactly what they have done time and time and time and time again. He's following it. And the Supreme Court gave him permission. They gave him permission to do it. And really and truly, what I think when the Democrats, if they take over in the fall, first thing they need to do is impeach. Kristi Noem, because she's impeached. He has an impeachable position. Impeach her for treason. Then start going after the Supreme Court, the people on the Supreme Court. Now, mind you, I really and truly want those people to stay in there till Trump goes, till the end of his term. Because if they go before then, he's going to appoint somebody that's going to be on the court for a lot longer. So they need to stay on there. But y'all got to realize something. There's no statute of limitations on this for impeachable offenses, especially if you're still in the government. If I were the Democrats, I would go ahead and start collecting all this evidence, stockpiling it, and as soon as the new president is put in office, go ahead and impeach him. Go ahead and impeach him. Impeach them. Start impeachment proceedings on members of the Supreme Court. Start with Clarence Tyler's punk ass. Start with him. We already know he's committed violations. We know he's accepted bribes. We know that. Hell, that ain't even a secret. He ain't even trying to hide it no more. But that's what we need to do. That's what needs to be done. Every attorney general, every Democratic attorney general, because you know the Republicans ain't going to do this shit. They're not going to do it. But every Democratic attorney general, whenever ICE comes in there and they start violating people's civil rights or killing people or whatever, they need to go ahead and start arresting them at the scene. When you get and find out who they are. And now there's one other thing too. Whenever ICE is involved in a situation, they're supposed to do a report. So they can't sit there and hide. They can't be anonymous. They can't be anonymous. Somebody has to put their name on that report. So whoever puts that name on that report, that's the first one you arrest. That's what you do. Let them try to figure it out. And the court and the feds cannot stop you from arresting them. I'm telling you, they can't do it. They can't do it. Well, let's say this. They can hide them and prevent you from taking them into custody, but you can't get an indictment against them. Start getting indictments. Start getting indictments. And just like Trump went into Venezuela to get Maduro, because Maduro had a warrant here in the United States, attorney generals and DAs can go anywhere in the United States to get these people. I've done that shit. So I know when I worked in the DA's office. No matter where they are in the country, they get on a plane, they got a warrant pops up, they get arrested. Right there. They get on a plane, they go anywhere involved in any type of thing with law enforcement. If a warrant pops up, damn it, they can be arrested, taken into custody at that time. DA can go get them. That's how it needs to be done. Now, y'all, like I said, I apologize. I really got to go because I got 35 minutes to get to this memorial service. So, Leonard, I'm going to be listening as much as possible, and I'm going to comment as much as possible. So, um, listen out for me. Look for my comments because they're going to come in. I don't know whose name is going to come under because usually when I comment on something, it comes under your name or something like that. I don't know why. But I'm going to do my best to comment and listen and comment and all that. So, y'all, listen, I got to go. I love y'all. Be safe out there. Please be safe. And if you're going to participate in any type of uh, protest, oh, and also too, one thing I got to say this: if you go to any protest and you see somebody that is doing something illegal or trying to somebody who throws rocks, and usually that person gonna have on a mask. Somebody with a mask walks up and starts doing stuff, and they look like they're about to start something. Film them. Film them.
Snatch his ass up.
Well, I'm telling. Well, this is what I'm saying. The reason why I say that
he throw
is
him from outside, snatch his ass up, and snatch that mask.
Yeah,
up.
because what they're doing, ICE is probably starting to put people in, and I know they are. They're putting people in there, in the crowd with the protesters, and they're the ones that's starting stuff. I know they're doing it because they've been doing that. They've been doing that stuff. They're the ones that's doing all this damage and all that, creating all this hostile environment. So, film them, please. And because what they're going to do, they're going to throw something, and then they're going to walk away. They're going to walk away. Follow them, film them, post it. Go live on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever platform you're using. Go live on it. So you can show who this person is. This is the one that started it. They're going to walk away. They're going to walk around the corner, and they're going to take that mask off, and then they're going to go probably put on a uniform or whatever they're going to do. But it's going to happen, y'all. That's what's going to happen because that's what they need. They need somebody. They need a catalyst. They need somebody to start some shit. And since if our side won't do it, they're going to put somebody from their side in there to do it. All right, y'all. Listen, y'all have a good week. Love y'all like more than cook food. See y'all soon. Deuces.
Thanks, Kenneth. I think that a couple of things we need to touch on. One is, I have no doubt in my mind that over the next 6 months, and I've always say this, that January to June are always the most crucial months when they try to hit you with the shock and awe, and that's what they've been doing. And they started January 1st, the shock and awe. And on Friday, I just got a notice that said that the Justice Department just filed a filing, I guess, with the Supreme Court or federal court that says no federal court or federal judge can force them to release the Epstein files. They just filed that. They filed it at midnight yesterday, of course, on a Friday, right? So, something about the 5 million files they haven't released in the Epstein files, which is a fascinating case in and of itself, because you're sitting there thinking, and I've said this before, somebody has a copy of the Epstein files. It's not just the Justice Department. Somebody has a copy that they've been trying to nullify. Somebody has sent out 5 or 6 copies. Some reporter has a copy. The Epstein estate has a copy. Somebody, the Epstein estate that's worried, has a copy. And they're just leaking and dripping. Because everything right now is transactional with this president. And if you naive enough to think that this president won't do anything, including kill, then you haven't been paying attention, because he just killed damn near 100 people off the coast of Venezuela with no due process. We don't have a clue who they were, nor do I believe anything Pete Hegseth says or anybody at the top of any intelligence agency that's loyal to the president. So it's like having a fucking Jason Bourne movie. They will do it. They will kill. And they will kill somebody who they think has copies of the Epstein file. They just haven't tracked them all down yet. So do I believe that they're going to do everything in their power to subvert or stop the midterm elections or call them false? Absolutely. Absolutely. The question I think we should have, and I just thought about this, because now you have, and I saw an article as we were coming on air saying that there's some Democrats who are saying, basically, man, chill on the impeachment talk. Just stick to the economy. And I agree with that. You need to do whatever you got to do to get in office. You need whatever you got to do. You need to do whatever you got to do to get in office. You need to lie, steal, cheat. If you're going to have to take up the tools of, man, nobody even likes saying enemy, but these people have determined that we're the enemy, and we need to stop looking at them as friends. We need to start. They are not responsible with power, so we need to do whatever we got to do to get back in office. And I'm gonna say this again. I've been saying this for a while. We are where we are because we had ineffective leadership in the Democratic Party. Now you can call it say ineffective leadership. You can come up with all kinds of things, all kinds of things about ineffective leadership. I, for one, Kenneth and I have disagreed for a while, and Mary and I, who said this for a while. You need to have somebody that can motivate people to vote. You need a male version of Stacey Abrams. Somebody that can get out there that people listen to that says, man, you know what? I don't like it, but I'm going to listen to this person. And I'm going to go and register and I'm going to vote. Just that simple. They aren't deep political junkies. You need to have somebody, and I'm telling you, it needs to be somebody regular, somebody who's had some problems in their life, but they don't quit fighting, they kept trying, they keep getting back on their feet, they don't give up. And they present well, and they can speak the language. They can speak the language. They got enough knowledge to know what the hell they talk about. They don't know it all, but they got enough knowledge to know what the hell they talking about. But they know, and they know what they don't know, because you're gonna have to. There has to be a 5-prong approach. You're gonna have to hit them where it hurts in their pockets. You're gonna have to stifle this billionaire class and let them know. Let me say what I'll tell you what I mean by stifle. If you all just go back 2 years ago, Jack Ma was on pace to be the richest human in the planet before Elon Musk. Jack Ma from Alibaba, the Amazon of Asia. It's on par to be Elon Musk. And Jack Ma was going to, I think, start this. He was going to go public with this company, and don't get me wrong, just look it up, or start this other stock exchange. And Xi, the leader of China, told him don't do it. Matter of fact, what Xi did was Xi summoned him back to China and silenced him for almost a year, because he said no billionaire is bigger than the state. No billionaire is going to have this much control over the state, under no circumstances, and was ready to kill him if he didn't do it. And he put all of those Chinese billionaires in check. And if you don't believe that, go back and look at how the owner of the New Jersey Nets started responding when this happened. He didn't want his players talking about China. He didn't went to the NBA and say, hey man, you need to back up. He knew Xi wasn't playing. Because whether you like Xi or not, Xi has made the determination that no billionaire is going to run Rapshard over the people. Now, the question becomes, was he running Rapshard over the people? You can make a good statement for that. But he's made that decision. Our billionaires are out of control. They have not shown themselves to be good people. I would say that to you all in my position don't have anything to lose. If you think you're going to cozy up these billionaires, they're going to change your life. They don't even like you. I've never got what their end game was, and why they don't like regular middle class, fairly wealthy people who just like, hey man, we don't care if you're successful, but damn, you don't have to oppress us with it. So the question, back to what I was saying, what we need to make sure we get people in at all costs. And we need to get rid of these people who have been ineffective. These people who don't have the ability to fight. They might have wanted to fight, but they haven't had the ability to break through. If you're sitting at, again, I'm going to keep hammering this home. If you're sitting at the last election in Georgia, which we got 2 public service commission people back on a Republican-dominated public service commission, and they threw everything at them with the kitchen sink, and only 21% of African Americans voted, it's because they weren't motivated to vote. Now, you're going to come in here and say, well, I shouldn't have to vote, or I don't know what to fucking tell you. because you're gonna have to get them motivated to vote. And I keep telling people, I didn't see one ad, not one of our reps campaigning with those two other people. Not once. Community organizations got them elected. Not once. And I'm a political. And I tell people, man, if I'm a political guy that gets into politics and I don't see you, I know regular people don't see you. I just told somebody running for the Fulton County Commission, his cousin, that the other day. If I don't see you and I'm looking for you, regular people definitely ain't not seeing you. So you, whatever you're doing is not working. And I'll tell that to anybody's face. If I don't see you, the guys in my trucks definitely don't see you. So whatever you're doing, you failing horribly. So I say that to say, and I started to show off, before Kenneth got on, saying, me and another person that was suggestion was I started the show, and then Kenneth called me about it, Mike Stokes. We constantly saying, you got to find somebody that can speak the language of these young people. And I'm around guys 20-something years younger than me all of the time because I really, really want to help. And I tell people when I went back to school to do heat and air, and I was in these classes with these young people, and I'm watching them, they're starving for some guidance. It's a lot of bravado. And you got to be able to talk to them within their bravado that they have and show them that you're willing to say, hey, man, I want you to succeed. I need you to succeed. And you got to be able to, when they come in, like recruiters would come in and they didn't know the questions to ask, I knew what questions to ask. And I was like, no, you're going to do this for them? Well, what about their 401k? Are they vested as soon as they come in? Is it 90 days? Just questions they didn't ask, which led them to come and say, hey, Uncle OG, what you think about this? So now my thing has been, that's where I was supposed to be. And, when previously before that, I was going, okay, shit, what the hell am I going to do? I had a rough 5 years financially. What am I going to do? Where am I supposed to go? What's my purpose? And now I understand that so many of us African-American men my age don't want to go back or won't. I don't know if this don't, won't, can't, whatever. But you're needed. And I talk with Marion all the time. I have friends that run the gamut. I have friends who used to be drug dealers, who are really, really smart, who got out of the game, every time I talk to them, I'm going, man, you just took another route. You'd have 4 or 5 businesses. And one of them told me this one time, and he said to me, Leonard, your all's problem is you all try to mentor, whereas on the street we try to get them to mirror. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, mentoring is you have them for 2 or 3 hours, and they can't. That's not enough time for them to start mirroring what you do. He said, we want them to mirror us, which is why we take them and flash money, and we our young workers, we take them to strip clubs, flash money, because they want to be like us. And then we become their family because they're mirroring us. I don't have to mentor them when they're mirroring us. Because mirroring, as he said, takes way more time. But I'm watching it in my neighborhood right now with a rapper who I watch him with young kids all the time. They walk around with his older guys, mirroring their behavior. So if you want to get more of these young African American males, who I can tell you right now, I see it. Out of that class, I would think 2 of those guys had their fathers in their life. That's what I would think. And I've talked to a couple of them. The rest were trying to figure it out on their own because they didn't have anybody to help them figure it out. And if you want those guys, you want them to translate like that and into them getting involved in the political system and voting, you're going to have to be vulnerable enough to let them know that you're trustworthy. And I get it. You're trying to do that while you're trying to lead your own damn life. And when you're over 50 and you're going to 60s and you're headed towards retirement, you're like, man, I don't want to do all that shit. Where am I going to find the time to do it? And you know what I tell people? whether you're gonna find the time to do it, you better, because it's gonna affect your family who comes after you down the road if we don't get this shit straight. If we don't change the course of this, it's not only going to affect you like it did last year when people didn't think it was going to affect them, and then you laid off 300,000 black women. And people were going, oh, I'm just going to sit back. Okay, you sat back and let 300,000 black women get fired from good jobs. And I saw people going, oh, they'll land on their feet. That's not the fucking point. The point wasn't whether they would land on their feet. The point was how are we going to coalesce to try to slow this down and to make sure they could still live at the lifestyle they were living, because it's good for the community. It's not only good for them, it's good for the community. And if this hasn't worked, and you're going to have to engage African Americans all over, particularly in my state, every state, particularly in the South, because right now, when you're only at 21% of registered African Americans voting, with this happening, this right here, you know that a lot of them are checked out. Because anybody else would say, man, this is an existential threat. Existential means that your life will no longer be the same from this day forward. It's not just a regular world. They have proven that this is an existential threat to our neighborhoods. And you are watching every other minority cozy up to the white power structure. You watching East Indians do it. You watching Asians do it. You say, well, learn how would you say that? Hamet Dillon, whoever is the civil rights attorney over the civil rights department in the DOJ, is from the East India, Pakistan area, and she's eroding civil rights every day. Vivek Ramaswamy doesn't care, has built his career. Dinesh D'Souza has built their career on degrading and demeaning black folks. Because they're trying to get close to the power structure. Stephen Chung is Trump's right-hand man and his spokesman. Who do you think is writing all these nasty quotes? Look up Stephen Chung. Yeah, we and again, I know I'm all over the place today, but it's important. I would much rather be talking about stuff like men's health and talking to men about their health, their sexual health, their mental health. I would much rather have more shows talking about that, or I don't necessarily want to be in a relationship space, but when stuff comes up, you can go and have a conversation with it as opposed to the same old bullshit that's out there from people who have been married for a long time, or people who are married and got a divorce, say this is what my experience was, this is where I think the pitfalls are, all that stuff. I would much rather do that. But we're at a inflection point, in my opinion. I go to meetings, and I'm amazed that people won't say this meeting should be centered around how we're going to get this within this political atmosphere. They act like the political atmosphere is not happening. I'm always amazed. I just went to one, and I love them to death, but I'm always going, how y'all going to get the money from the federal government when the federal government is led by these madmen? You know, we got to get them out first. All our efforts should be to be gearing up to make sure we have these midterms and to get them out. That should be the tip of the spear. I don't even understand why we're talking about this other shit if you're relying on any federal grants. Or if you're not going to take care of the city of Atlanta, which is the most important right now African American city in the fucking country. So all that other stuff is a guessing game. And I'm amazed at how many smart people who I consider super smart that do not want to talk about it. And they go, well, Leonard, we think that. And I'm going, you thinking and doing is two fucking different things. You need to deal with the reality on the ground. The reality on the ground. But I can get people to talk about Glen Hill's football team losing 73-0. I'm like, nobody give a damn about that right now, what's going on. Glen Hills High School doesn't start getting some federal grants and start showing that, hey, they can improve that school, and the federal grants aren't coming to schools that are predominantly African American, you shit out of luck. So maybe you better damn focus on that first. It's just you trying to put the cart before the horse. And Roland Martin talks about this every day. Some of y'all just don't like the way he says it. And I'm like, how can you get past what he says? Or how he says it. If Texas doesn't wake up that black voting bloc, Jasmine don't stand a chance. If you can't pull in the strongest group of people we have that has the most influence, which is our athletes and our entertainers, to start saying, I've made enough money, I've got to make this sacrifice for my community, and say, I won't go. In our high school and our athletes, I won't go. If I can see it, they can see it. You keep saying, well, there's a different way. I keep saying, well, shit, show me that way. We are going to have to figure out how to get African American boys 18 voting age on up to 50 engaged to say, if I don't come out, my life was going to substantially change. Substantially change. And other communities see that, hey, if I cozy up and I talk I talk about black people, say I'm not on their side, they got to pay a price for that by withholding our money and our presence from them. Because I'm telling you, I'm watching it from this little bit of position I'm in. They have no fear of you, no financial fear, no physical fear, no mental fear, zero. Because they don't think that you have the will to do anything that's going to affect their lives substantially, including not patronizing them. I have a developer in my neighborhood right now who has every right to do what he's doing on his property, but the political and the smart thing would have been to come and say, let me get some social credit and come and tell them what I'm building over here, to see if it's anything that could make this easier that they won't feel resentful about. He just didn't give a fuck. And I keep saying we would never be able to do that in their neighborhoods. And that's not racist, it's not prejudicial, it's just fact. But yet they have stores all throughout my neighborhood, whereas poor people, poor African Americans, patronize them all the time. All the time. So, like I said, I know I was all over the place today. I'm gonna end this a little early, but it seems to be so overwhelming. But again, I never envisioned this show just to be a political talk show. I like politics a lot, but I also think that there are other issues in the black community we could talk about, that we could be just some small measure of encouragement to people on this show. It's just that we find ourselves at this point in our lives in this existential threat that people don't seem to be taking as an existential threat. If somebody told you tomorrow that they were going to pull all the oxygen just from around your house and you were going to die, or they were going to control the oxygen, which you know that nothing matters but having that oxygen, you can't do anything else before you have oxygen, you would consider that as existential threat, and you would be doing everything in your power either to get rid of them or to nullify them. And you can't wrap your minds around the word existential. Because you're comfortable, you don't think it can happen. It doesn't matter to you that it's what has happened in the last month. You didn't think that he could take the military and go and start stealing oil. Yes, I said stealing it. And I said stealing it for a reason. This is a tangent again. Because yesterday he announced that that tanker that he stole from Venezuela, with our tax dollars, our military, our money, your money, black people's money, that he had sold the oil for $500 million and he was putting it in a bank in Qatar that only he personally, the president, could control. And you didn't hardly hear one fucking peep about it except for this rep from goddamn Vermont going, y'all lost y'all. Basically, she said, y'all lost y'all fucking minds. The president just stole $500, told you he stole it, told you he was going to personally, no oversight. That's the stuff I'm telling you when I say that's not normal. When you say, well, they won't do that. That's what me and Kenneth always argue. They won't do that. What are you talking about? They're doing it because it's such a shock to your cognitive ability to be able to say, God damn, they really doing that shit. Now that you got no, now what are we going to do? You didn't think that they could goddamn just go and close down an agency that would kill 400-something thousand people in America. They did it. You didn't think that just so blatantly his son would be able to invest in Vulcan Investments and go and get 2 contracts from the Pentagon, the 2 biggest contracts in history, and they did it, even though we had the emoluments clause. You didn't think that they would go and give Palantir a goddamn contract that used facial recognition on all of us to some assholes who run Palantir. They some assholes who couldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight, always talking about how masculine they are. You didn't think that you would have all these black goddamn conservatives out here making money off this grift by saying that black people are the problem. Well, they did. And I want to leave with this because I always hear people say, man, y'all have a victim mentality. I don't know one black person. I've never met a black person that wanted to be the victim. I've met some really poor black people. In this position, I met some people who were struggling. And they struggle. They struggle. And I talk to them and I know damn well they don't want to be victims. I never get the impression that they want to be victims. They work hard. They work. Some of them don't have the highest education degrees, but just because you don't have doesn't mean that we shouldn't treat you like human and find a place for you to be and find a place you could work and make a decent living and cover your bills, and they will be good with that. But that's how they portray us. So on my Facebook post, I posted a thing today that said, and they call us the face of welfare. I think that we need to stop getting out of this thing of letting people define us for calling a spade a spade. I'm all for dialogue and difficult dialogue. I refuse to get into a dialogue with anybody that sits there and says that black people want to be victims. Particularly those people that wouldn't be where they are, wouldn't have the platform they had if it wasn't for black people in the South who put their lives and bodies on the line with white allies who died for it. That got you the rights that you have right now. That's one thing I don't play about. I have a visceral reaction. I will fight over that. I literally will fight over people degrading those people and what they did. I can't do it. I literally, if you start saying something that's totally diametrically opposed to what those people did, and start saying that, like MLK, hey man, they were part of the album, they were ops, and you're gonna be in a fight with me. I promise you, a physical fight. You're gonna shut the fuck up on that one. Particularly if they died for it. I can't do it. There's some things that are sacred to me. They might not be sacred to you, but you better be clear they're sacred to me. You won't talk about Diane Nash. You won't talk about John Lewis. You might want to talk. You can talk about John Lewis and some of the stuff he did or didn't do in Congress, but you're not going to talk about the sacrifice he made to get us where we are. You're not doing that. Not around me. You're not going to talk about Medgar Evers and his sacrifice around me. You're not going to talk about Martin Luther King, or his family, or his kids, or Dexter, or Bernice, or none of them. You're not doing that around me. You are not fucking. I don't give a fuck how black you are. Because it lets me know that you don't know, you don't have a clue what the story is. You haven't read about it. You haven't understood how important it was to you. You're going to catch it from me. So, with that being said, y'all, I hope this, I didn't see a lot of chat, so I'm going to assume that either a lot of people couldn't a lot of people might not have joined this. I don't want to be egotistical. But we're going to try to get it better. I appreciate you joining us. Appreciate you joining me. Appreciate Kenneth coming in early for the 20 minutes that he was here. And with that being said, um, I'll see you all next week. And I know it's not working because I just did a test chat and it didn't pop up and say hello. So if I didn't see you, it's because I got to figure this one out, y'all. And we'll respond to it next week. I'll get better. Anyway, have a good day, y'all. Peace.